Hello everyone, it's Sardar Pick. I hope you're all good. Today I have a presentation for you. The presentation is about decision theory. And here is the content. In this presentation, I want to give you information about descriptive, prescriptive, and normative approach to decision making, utility theory, risk perception of people, expected utility theory and its pros and cons, and last the prospect theory, its pros and cons as well. Descriptive approach. Descriptive models are decision-making models that explain and describe how people choose between alternatives in real-life situations. Descriptive models use some basic summary measures. Prescriptive approach. Prescriptive models focus on how the best or better decision was made, suggesting a number of steps that involve making the best decision. Predictive models aim to lay out a framework for better decision making, just as people accept their limitations and are compatible with their intuitive decision making ways. It is just optimization, especially for certain conditions. Normative approach. Normative is coming from norms. Normative models focus on how people should make decisions and on the steps of the decision making process. Normative decision-making models aim to develop various methods to make optimal choices. Utility theory. Utility is a measure of the satisfaction derived from money. Utility theory is a positive theory that seeks to explain the individual's observed behavior and choices. Utility theory bases its beliefs upon individuals' preferences. It's a theory postulated in economics to explain behavior of individuals based on the premise people can constantly rank order their choices depending upon their preferences. Risk perception. Risk perceptions are beliefs about potential harm or the possibility of a loss. It's a subjective judgment that people make about the characteristic and severity of a risk. The degree of risk associated with a given behavior is generally considered to represent the likelihood and consequences of harmful effects that result from that behavior. To perceive risk includes evaluations of the probability as well as the consequences of an uncertain outcome. There are three dimensions of perceived risk: perceived likelihood, the probability that one will be harmed by the hazard; perceived susceptibility, an individual's constitutional vulnerability to hazard; and perceived severity, the extent of harm a hazard would cause. Expected utility theory. Expected utility theory is used as a tool for analyzing situations in which individuals must make a decision without knowing the outcomes that may result from that decision. The theory notes that the utility of money is not necessarily the same as the total value of money. In expected utility theory, the utilities of outcomes are weighted by their probabilities. Example of expected utility. Purchasing a lottery ticket represents two possible outcomes for the buyer. They could end up losing the amount they invested in buying the ticket, or they could end up making a smart profit by winning either a portion of the entire lottery. Assigning probability values to the cost involved, in this case the nominal purchase price of a lottery ticket, it's not difficult to see that the expected utility to be gained from purchasing a lottery ticket is greater than not buying it. Here is the chart of expected utility. Expected utility theory pros and cons. And it rationalizes individual decision making when one does not know the consequences of every possible action. The expected utility theory in public policy is the most socially right arrangement. And the cons are: expected utility theory makes faulty predictions about people's decisions in many real-life choice situations, not always good as a descriptive model. The possibility of large-scale losses. Prospect theory. Prospect theory is a behavioral model that shows how people decide between alternatives that involve risk and uncertainty. Prospect theory was developed by framing risky choices and indicates that people are loss averse. Since individuals dislike losses more than equivalent gains, they are more willing to take risks to avoid a loss. Example for prospect theory. Let's imagine that customers who buy shoes in the Adidas store are given rewards. Which reward would customers choose? Reward A, $50 coupon for next purchase. And reward B, be able to attend a lucky draw for the new season Adidas worth $1,000. Although the potential price for lucky draw is much bigger than the value of the coupon, most people will choose reward A and get the prize which is certain. And here is the chart of prospect theory. Prospect theory pros and cons. Pros are useful for investors to understand their biases, where losses tend to cause greater emotional impact than the equivalent gain. And the prospect theory helps describe how decisions are made by investors. And cons are the original version of prospect theory gave rise to violations of first-order stochastic dominance. The theory is criticized for the inadequate framing theory that explains why actors generate the frames they use. It lacks psychological explanations for the process it talks about. Thank you for listening to me. I hope you all like it.